Lots of news to cover this evening. Let's get started. Taxi operators are pulling no punches in response to comments made by Premier David Burt about ride-sharing services. Cooper Stevenson has the story.
The Premier told Bermuda Broadcasting that it was inevitable that new services would try to enter the market and that the current lack of regulation limits the government's ability to stop such services. Premier Burt said that the government is currently working on proposals that will prioritize rather than undercut taxis. Not good enough, says the Taxi Owners and Operators Association, which is demanding fast and firm action. Spokesman Randy Broadbelt is so fed up with what he sees as government inertia that he has called for a vote of no confidence in the Premier.
There is everything that could be done. There is laws in place right now on the books regarding dispatch services that Island Go does not prescribe to, or any of these non-official or legal entities are doing. And they have everything in their power to provide cease and desist, penalize any passengers, taxi operators, or citizens that are using them, and they have failed to do that.
Mr. Broadbelt says the BTOA membership notified Transport Minister Wayne Furbert about Island Go back in 2023, when the company first began advertising on social media here in Bermuda. He followed up when the company began advertising for drivers in 2024 and reached out to government for a third time after Bermuda Broadcasting's expose on the company. Back in June, we booked a ride through the app from Bermuda Broadcasting HQ at Fort Hill to the Department of Transport Control. Mr. Broadbelt is alarmed that the Ministry of Transport appears to have taken no action. He blames the political leadership and says the BTOA members are equally incensed. If the Premier and Transport Minister cannot enforce the regulations in an industry they themselves regulate, Mr. Broadbelt wonders, what else can't they do?
So what happens with crime, drink driving, every other thing that is under his remit and within his government's remit? Do they not do something about it, or do they just let everything just go into chaos?
Having simmered for years, the feud between taxi drivers and government came to a boil last year during the throne speech, when government promised taxi drivers a rate increase. BTOA members correctly predicted the promise would come with a quid pro quo, that being ride-sharing. Government's plans for a ride-sharing structure aim to improve transportation options on the island and to address perennial complaints about inconsistencies in the taxi service. However, Island Go's unregulated presence on the island has cabbies fuming and ready to register their displeasure at the ballot box.
How are you guys going to be voting in the elections coming up?
At this point in time, our entire membership says anybody that shows up representing PLP will be turned back from their door. It's already been explained to us. It's already been shared with video and voice messaging when PLP members have been coming canvassing. So if the PLP is not aware, we are sick and tired. We are sick and tired. And if Bermudians haven't told you they're sick and tired, the BTOA is sick and tired of the games.
Meantime, government tonight responded to the concerns of taxi owners and reiterated that the best way to prevent unregulated rideshare apps from trying to enter the Bermuda market is to fix the transportation challenges faced by our visitors and residents during peak times. Government says it has been consulting with stakeholders to introduce rideshare regulations that will not compete with the taxi industry, but complement it. Cooper Stevenson takes it from here.
The government is adamant that we have ride-sharing regulations to protect our existing taxi industry while introducing more options to ensure our visitors and residents can get around the island when needed. This tonight from a government spokesperson who stated that government does not want apps operating in Bermuda where they undercut and undercharge the taxi industry, as has been seen in other places around the world. The dispatching system for regulated ride-sharing in Bermuda will prioritize taxis over ride-sharing operators, ensuring that existing taxi operators will still be the preferred option to serve the public, the spokesperson said. There are no apps approved by the ministry to facilitate the operation of private cars for hire or reward, and government restated tonight that local private car drivers who are considering driving for Island Go would be acting unlawfully. Only vehicles with valid public service vehicle permits can legally carry passengers for hire and reward, and using a car for hire or reward may nullify your insurance policy. Cooper Stevenson, Bermuda Broadcasting.